Do you love cheesy hash brown potato casserole? Well, I do. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own hash browns for that casserole that you can freeze or dehydrate. Stay tuned. It's Jody with All About the Harvest, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own hash browns from scratch. I will be freezing and dehydrating these potatoes today, but you can use them fresh to make whatever recipe you desire. I just so happen to have a bunch of potatoes myself that I need to do something with, and I've decided that I want to make hash brown potatoes. We use hash brown potatoes in cheesy hash brown potato casserole, and I always go to the store and buy the hash browns, the frozen hash browns, to make this dish. And I thought, why don't I just make these hash browns and freeze them myself? So that's what I'm going to do today. I've also decided that I'm going to dehydrate some of these as well to save on some freezer space. So I've done some of the prep work already. I have red potatoes and I peeled them, I washed them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my food processor to shred them. There's a couple ways that you can make this recipe. One, you can do what I'm going to do, which is these potatoes are not cooked. I am going to shred them. Then I am going to steam blanch them. The other way you can do it is you can cook the potatoes, then you can shred them. I've decided I am going to just shred first, then steam blanch, and then I will put on the dehydrator and put in vacuum seal bags for the freezer. Now, if you do not have a food processor that has a shredding attachment, you can use a grater box or any grater that you might have. This is going to be easy to use, so. So quick. So quick. Okay, I'm going to finish these up and then I will come back when I'm done. Okay, so the potatoes yielded quite a bit of hash browns, and I am super excited because that went really, really quick. So the next step after this is getting them into the steamer to blanch them. From a dehydrating perspective, it's recommended that they get steam blanched for 4 to 6 minutes. And I'm going to do the same for freezing, because I'm not sure how many I'm actually going to use to put in the dehydrator and how many I'm going to put in the freezer at this point. I'm going to measure out 2 pounds for each vacuum sealed freezer pack that I make, because that's what the recipe calls for the cheesy hash brown potatoes. Of course, we can use these for more than just cheesy hash brown potato casserole, right? We could use these for actually hash browns. In case you're not sure what steam blanching is, this pot is full of water. It's about half filled with water. Inside here is a steamer insert, and this just sits in the pot. And then what I'm going to do is when this starts producing some steam, I will put potatoes in here. I'll put the lid back on, and then I will steam these for about, like I said, 4 to 6 minutes. The same thing is on this one. It's just a smaller version, but it's the same thing. I just figured I'd have 2 going because I'm going to have a lot of potatoes, and you can only fit so many potatoes in at a time. When I lift that steamer tray out, I will then put them in cold water to stop that cooking process. And I have this container here. I'm going to fill this with some ice water so that will quickly stop that cooking process. And then from there, I will package into freezer containers and vacuum seal or put on the dehydrator tray. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so this one's ready. I'm already making a mess. All right, I don't want to put too much in. This one's not quite ready. Okay, so I set the timer for the 4 minutes. I'm going to get the water, the cold water. And then I'm going to grab some ice from the freezer and put it in here, and then I will come back when this part of the process is done. So I am back after steam blanching all of those hash browns, and I gotta tell you, it was quite the there was quite a bit of chaos in this kitchen when that happened. So I was trying to vacuum seal and steam and ice and do it all myself. It was a little bit of a disaster. But let me tell you what did happen. So one thing I forgot to tell you is your hash browns need to be in water because they will oxidize and start turning like a brownish, and they won't look good. Immediately, like when I cut the hash browns, I should have put them in water. I didn't because I wanted to show you, and then I forgot to tell you. So after I stopped recording, then I put the water over them. They started to turn like a pinkish brownish. I put water over them, and that water actually, when I rinsed them, it just went away. So it was fine. So one, potatoes oxidize quickly, so make sure that they're in water. Second, after doing my first batch, I realized I should do these in 2-pound batches because I wanted them in 2-pound batches. So then I started weighing out 2 pounds and putting them in the steamer. And so that got like, there's a ton of dishes over here right now. There's so many dishes. So 2-pound batches was an idea that I came up with as I was doing it. And then, like I said, I was trying to vacuum seal them, like as I'm doing all this stuff, create the bags and weigh it out and then vacuum seal it. And I was trying to do everything at once. And I went to vacuum seal a bag, and I knew that, there's some water in there, right? I mean, obviously there's water content in there, and I didn't, because I was trying to hurry, I didn't like strain them well, because obviously I blanched them, and then, anyways, vacuum sealing them wet was not a good idea. All the water came out, and I had like so much like water and foam, and just it was ridiculous. So I had a big mess with the vacuum sealer, and I had to do that while I was doing everything else. It was actually quite comical, and I started laughing. I'm glad I wasn't recording, but I am telling you what happened so that you don't do the same thing that I did. This was my first time making hash browns and trying to freeze them, so it was a learning process. So what I decided to do is I took those hash browns that were in that bag, because obviously they didn't quite seal. So I took them and I put them on a tray in my freezer to freeze, not in a bag. And then I will take them from there and then I will freeze them in a vacuum seal bag, which is why I have the vacuum sealer out, because they're still in the freezer. I quickly realized, however, if I did that with all of these, I wouldn't have enough freezer space to do it. So on my next bags, what I did is I had weighed them out and then put them in the Ziploc bags, and then I just froze them in Ziploc bags. I ended up having 3 2-pound bags with the ones that are on the tray that I have to put in a vacuum seal bag. So I had 3 of those, and then I had a 12-ounce bag. And I froze them all. 3 bags for the cheesy hash brown potato casserole. That would be perfect. And then the small one, that could be just for like a breakfast. Remember, there are 2 ways to make these hash browns. You can do the method I did, which was shred them first and then blanch them. The other method would be boiling the potatoes and then shredding or dicing your potatoes after they're already boiled. I like the method I did because then I'm not having to handle hot potatoes to dice or shred them. That just seemed easier, and that's what I'm going to do when I do my next batch of potatoes. And then I think with my next batch of potatoes that I do, I'll just dehydrate them. So I'll do it the same way, everything the same up front. Just the final process will be putting them on the dehydrator tray, and I will dehydrate them at 125 degrees. So if you're planning on dehydrating them, you'll dehydrate them at 125 degrees and for as long as it takes to dehydrate them. So it depends on the humidity in your area, in your house, but I think, they say around 15 hours, but it just depends. And then are you rotating your trays and things like that? That helps. And how thick you have them. What I'd like to know from you is, have any of you vacuum sealed homemade hash browns? And if so, how did you do it? I think the way that I'm doing it with the freezing them kind of on a tray and doing it that or partially freezing them is the way to go. But it's just kind of like, that seems like a lot. Like I wanted the process to be quicker. The other thing I thought of is I do have a salad spinner. I could spin them in like a salad spinner to get out that water, and I could pat them dry so that they're drier. I could do that, but I'm just wondering if there's anybody else has had any tried and true methods for vacuum sealing them. So let me know in the comments below if you have any of those tried and true ways to vacuum seal these shredded hash browns. My husband prefers the shredded versus the cubed. And also let me know in the comments below if you made your own hash browns and you've used them to make a cheesy hash brown potato casserole. I'm curious to see how they turn out, if it's any different than the store-bought. For all things food related, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to be notified when I post a new video each Wednesday. That's it for today's video. I hope you have a great week and enjoy your hash browns.